I moved nationwide and my parents cut me off. As soon as my income soared, they messaged. They pushed me to the edge, ignored me for decades, and then, when they needed me most, they tried to steal my dog. This isn't just a story about family estrangement. It's about what happens when you finally push back. Last August, the Michigan heat was a suffocating blanket, even inside my parents' house. The air hung heavy with the smell of stale carpet and unspoken resentment, a familiar cocktail I'd been breathing my whole life. I, a 32-year-old man, stood there, a $14 craft beer in my hand, the same kind I'd been drinking for 5 years, not that anyone noticed or cared. The TV, as always, blared Dad David's favorite sports game at maximum volume because admitting his hearing was shot was apparently worse than rupturing eardrums. My brother, Liam, was in his usual spot, hunched in a corner, performing for his phone, crafting another TikTok about his entrepreneurial grind, essentially, drop-shipping overpriced garbage from Alibaba. I'd just landed the biggest promotion of my career, senior network architect at a Fortune 100 cybersecurity firm. Remote. $180,000 base salary, plus equity. And I was moving to Austin, Texas. They're promoting me to senior architect. I announced, my voice cutting through the sports commentary. Moving me to Texas. $180,000 base. Not a single head turned. Dad David was practically welded to his recliner. Mom Sarah was lost in Facebook, probably heart-reacting to Liam's latest hustle post. Liam himself just adjusted his ring light, optimizing for that authentic struggle lighting. I took a long, slow sip of my drink, and that's when something just clicked inside me. A hard, cold realization. They truly didn't give a damn. I'd learned early on that I was the spare tire, the background character whose sole purpose was to make Liam look better. I mean, at 9 years old, my birthday party was relegated to the garage because Liam needed the house for his YouTube skateboard trick videos. 47 subscribers, mind you. I sat there, eating grocery store cake amidst power tools, while Mom Sarah poked her head in to say, "Be patient, honey, Liam's building his brand." Message received, I didn't matter as much. At 13, I took second in the state math competition. 6 months of grueling prep, 2 bus transfers to even get there, all because Mom Sarah and Dad David were busy watching Liam film for his 83 subscriber channel. I came home with a trophy, a medal, a certificate signed by the governor. Dad David walked in, phone glued to his ear, talking to Liam about lighting. He glanced at my accomplishments, barely registering them. "Cool, bud," he mumbled, never even looking up. "Liam needs help with his rig. His channel's about to blow up. Got a sponsor interested for 83 subscribers." That was the dream. My trophy sat on the kitchen table for a full week. No one, not once, asked about it. I moved it to my room myself. I became the family fix-it guy. Router problems? Evan. Laptop crashed? Evan. Liam's entire dropshipping website? 3 weeks of my coding while he partied. His thanks? A fist bump and an Instagram post about his pure hustle, no handouts grind. The site I built for free. Thanksgiving was a classic. Liam showed up 4 hours late. His Instagram live apparently ran long. We waited. The turkey dried to leather. He strolled in, head to toe in designer gear. Mom Sarah practically tackled him. "Sweetheart, you work so hard. Sit down." Then, the inevitable, "Evan, fix your brother a plate." I was already seated. Already starving. Already exhausted from helping Dad David smoke that turkey since 4 a.m. But I stood up. Made his plate. Gave him the breast meat. Took the dry, unwanted wings for myself. Later, Mom Sarah packed him the best leftovers in proper containers. For me? Scraps in margarine tubs. "He's got a son to feed," she'd say. "You're single. You don't need as much." I just nodded. Something inside me was snapping. When I landed the architect role, the first significant step in my career, I booked the most expensive Italian place, Giorgio's. Invited everyone 3 weeks in advance. Confirmed twice. They came. But it wasn't for me. Before I even finished my appetizer, Mom Sarah pulled out her phone, helping Liam research commercial kitchen spaces. They talked over me mid-sentence as I tried to explain highly classified government contracts, critical infrastructure, actual meaningful work. All they cared about was square footage for Liam's latest meal prep scheme. Dad David actually asked for the check before the entrees arrived. Not missing the Lions game for overpriced pasta, he grumbled. 35 minutes. That's all I got. I paid the $340 bill and left a 30% tip. The waiter looked genuinely embarrassed for me. After that night, I buried myself in work. Cybersecurity architecture. Remote work meant I could be anywhere. The day I accepted the Austin offer, a feeling washed over me that I hadn't known in years: control. Then came that Saturday in August. The Michigan heat. The house reeking of old carpet and quiet desperation. Mom Sarah chasing Noah, Liam's kid, while Liam filmed another, entrepreneur, TikTok. Dad David half watching baseball. I opened my drink and I said it, clearly loudly. They promoted me to senior architect. Moving to Austin. $180,000 base plus equity. The TV announcer screamed about a strikeout. No one looked up. I stood there, condensation dripping onto my hand. For the very first time, I didn't feel hurt. I felt clear. I realized I could leave, and this house would sound exactly the same. That moment? It was a green light. 5 weeks later, my entire life fit into a 16-foot moving truck. Funny, you don't accumulate much when you're invisible. The night before I left, I sent a message to the family group chat, leaving tomorrow morning. New job starts Monday. Austin bound. The read receipts confirmed, Mom Sarah, Dad David, Liam. All saw it. By morning? Nothing. Not a single word. I pulled out at 5:15 a.m., loading the truck myself. Dad David's back was acting up. Mom Sarah had errands. Liam never even acknowledged my text about the furniture I was leaving behind. Halfway through Tennessee, Mom Sarah's text buzzed, "We need you home this weekend." Liam's moving inventory to a new warehouse. Heavy lifting. As if I'd just driven to Home Depot, not moved 1,200 miles across the country. I deleted it. Blocked the family group chat. And kept driving. My new apartment was downtown Austin. 23rd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows. 2 bedrooms. Central air that didn't sound like a dying helicopter. $2,100 a month. Mine. That first night, I sat on the floor, eating pizza straight from the box, watching the city lights flicker on. No one called asking for the router password. No one texted needing help moving furniture. The silence? It was absolutely glorious. The next few months settled into a rhythm. Morning runs along Lady Bird Lake. Work from home with colleagues who actually valued confidence, not just familial obligation. My team protected networks handling billions in assets, hospitals, power grids, banking systems. Actual important work. Then I found Atlas, a massive Belgian Malinois mix, 95 pounds of muscle and loyalty, shaking in a shelter kennel. The volunteer told me he'd been returned 3 times. Too intense, they said. Too protective. Too much dog. I knew that feeling. Took him home that afternoon. That's how I met Chloe. Dog park, Wednesday evening. Her Doberman, Zeus, and Atlas started that rough, growling, totally friendly, but looks violent kind of play. "Your dog's a beast," she laughed. Athletic, confident, no makeup. The kind of woman who knew her worth and didn't negotiate it. She ran operations for a startup, logistics, supply chain, the unglamorous stuff that actually makes companies function. We started meeting up after work. The dogs became inseparable. Slowly, so did we. With Chloe, I could talk about work without feeling like I was bragging. She listened. Retained information. Asked follow-up questions days later. How'd that penetration test go? She'd text on a random Thursday. She remembered. It was mind-blowing. Then, the ghosts found my address. A Sunday morning text. Family barbecue Saturday. Dad David's turning 62. Show up early to set up tables and chairs. No question mark. No, we miss you. Just pure expectation. I showed Chloe. You gonna go? She asked. Heck no. Good, she said, a small smile playing on her lips. They don't deserve your time. The next day, the family chat exploded. Missed calls. Guilt texts. Even Liam chimed in, Dad, David's upset you bailed. Not cool, man. This, from the guy who missed my college graduation for a pop-up shop that made $200. 3 years blurred past. More promotions. My salary hit $210,000. I built a circle of friends who actually gave a damn. My apartment truly became home. Atlas claimed his spot on the couch. Chloe's running shoes lived by my door. I truly believed the past had finally stopped looking for me. Then, my cousin Caleb crashed on my couch for 2 nights. On his last morning, with the perfect Austin light hitting my exposed brick, leather furniture, and mounted TV setup, Atlas sprawled contentedly on his dog bed. Caleb pulled out his phone. Dude, this setup is sick. Can I post it? Go ahead, I said, shrugging. He snapped a photo, adding a caption, at my cousin Evan's spot in Austin. Man built something worth respecting. Posted it to Instagram. I barely gave it a second thought. I didn't realize that one single post, 412 likes in 3 hours, would utterly obliterate every boundary I'd painstakingly built. By the next morning, my phone was drowning in notifications from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. People asking about my salary, if I bought or rented. That furniture looks expensive. Cousins I barely knew commented with fire emojis and killing it. Then, Mom Sarah commented, so proud of our Evan. Always knew he'd succeed. We raised him to be independent and driven. That comment tasted like gasoline. Where were you, I thought, during the math competition? The promotion dinner? The move. They only showed up when there was something to photograph. The first text arrived Thursday night, 11:47 p.m. Evan, honey, we've been so worried about you. Can we talk? Mom Sarah. 3 years of near silence, and suddenly she was worried. Caleb's post had been live for 72 hours, hitting 500+ likes, viral in my family's world. Before I could even respond, a second text, Liam showed me photos of your apartment. Very impressive. You must be doing extremely well financially. There it was. The real conversation. By morning, I had 6 missed calls from Mom Sarah, 3 from Dad David, 2 from Liam. Dad David's voicemail was literally 8 seconds. Call your mother back. Family business. I didn't call back until Saturday afternoon. Let them stew. When Mom Sarah finally answered, her voice had that sickeningly forced cheerfulness. Oh, sweetheart. Finally. We were thinking about visiting. No, I said simply. The silence on the other end was immediate, stunned. She wasn't expecting that. Excuse me. I said no. You're not visiting. I moved 1,200 miles away for a reason. If you want to talk, we can do it over the phone. Evan, we're your family. A family, I retorted, that ignored me for 3 years until Caleb posted my apartment online. So, no, you're not coming to Austin. Her voice went cold. We already booked the flights. Saturday morning. All 4 of us. My jaw clenched. Then cancel them. I'm not hosting you. It's non-refundable, she said, as if that was my problem. We'll be there at 11 o'clock. We can talk then. Mom, I'm telling you right now, the line went dead. I stared at my phone, a slow burn of rage building inside me. She'd booked flights without asking, and now she was acting like my refusal just didn't matter. Chloe looked up from her laptop. What happened? They booked flights to Austin. I told them not to come. She hung up on me. So don't let them in, she said simply. That's the plan. But I knew my family. They didn't take no for an answer. They'd show up anyway, make a scene, and wouldn't leave until I caved. Not this time. Saturday came. I was ready. The doorbell rang at 11:20 a.m. 20 minutes late, even for them forcing themselves on me. I peered through the peephole. All 4 of them. Mom Sarah, clutching a Starbucks bag like some twisted peace offering. Dad David, holding a cheap pack of sodas. Liam, with Noah, his son, looking tired and utterly confused. I opened the door, but kept my body firmly planted in the frame, blocking any entry. I told you not to come, I stated flatly. Mom Sarah's practiced smile faltered. We flew all this way. Without my permission, I countered. That's not my problem. Evan, we're family. Dad David grunted, attempting to push past me. I didn't budge. A family that ignored me for 3 years. You're not coming in. Liam stepped forward, his voice aggressive. Bro, we flew here. Stop being a jerk and let us in. Or what? I asked, my voice dangerously cold. You'll force your way into my home? Mom Sarah's eyes went wide, already playing the victim. We just want to see you. You want something? I cut her off. And seeing me is the price of admission. I'm not interested. Noah tugged on Liam's sleeve, looking scared. The kid didn't deserve this, but I wasn't responsible for his parents' choices. Mom Sarah's voice cracked. Please, sweetheart, we came all this way. Just let us in for a few minutes. I looked at them. All of them. Standing there in my hallway with luggage, with expectations, with the same entitled arrogance they'd always carried. Part of me yearned to slam the door, but I knew they wouldn't leave. They'd camp out. Make a scene. Bother my neighbors. Fine. They wanted in. They'd get exactly 2 hours. Then they were gone. 2 hours, I said. You get 2 hours, then you leave. Understood. Mom Sarah brightened immediately. Of course, sweetie. I mean it, I warned. 2 hours. Not negotiable. I stepped aside. They practically rushed in, invading my space like a swarm of locusts. Mom Sarah swept past, leaving a trail of cloying perfume, her eyes already scanning my apartment like an appraiser. She ran her fingers over my furniture, mentally calculating prices. Oh, sweetheart, look at you, she gushed, but her eyes were calculating square footage and rental costs. This is lovely. Very upscale. What's the rent on a place like this? Translation. How much money do you have? Dad David followed, clutching his cheap sodas. The cheapest stuff possible, even though I'd been drinking quality beverages for years. He'd never once remembered. Brought drinks for the game, he announced, already searching for my TV, treating my home like his personal sports bar. Liam came in last, phone already out, undoubtedly taking video for his Instagram story. Yo, nice place. What's the square footage? Like 1,400 downtown Austin? This has to be $2,600 a month minimum. Or did you buy? Because if you bought, don't. I cut him off, my voice sharp. You're here for 2 hours. Don't spend it calculating my net worth. His fake smile faltered. Noah, Liam's son, immediately bolted inside without a word of invitation, started touching everything. Grabbed my TV remote. Jumped on my expensive leather couch. Atlas, my protective companion, retreated to the bedroom, tail low. I checked my watch. The timer had officially started. We moved into the living room. Dad David grabbed my TV remote without asking, found the Tigers game, and cranked the volume. No one bothered to ask if I wanted to watch baseball. Mom Sarah settled onto my $3,200 leather sectional and immediately began the interrogation. So, what's your salary now? You must be doing quite well to afford all this. Straight to it. No pretense. I'm comfortable, I said, jaw tight. Liam let out that fake, calculating laugh he used when fishing for information. Come on, man. You've got to be clearing $200,000 minimum with equity, maybe $250,000 total comp. He wasn't wrong, but I wasn't confirming anything. Why does it matter? I asked. Just curious, bro. Trying to understand the network architect game. Seems lucrative. It is, I replied, when you actually finish your degree and work for it. Silence. Sharp. Uncomfortable. Mom Sarah forced a laugh. No need to be rude, honey. I'm not being rude, I shot back. I'm being honest. Something this family struggles with. Liam's face flushed. You know what? I came here thinking we could reconnect. You came here because Caleb posted my apartment, and you realized I have money, I stated plainly. Let's not pretend this is about brotherhood. Noah continued jumping on my furniture. I'd asked him twice to stop. He ignored me. Noah, I said firmly. Last warning. Sit down or play quietly in the corner. Stop jumping on my furniture. Mom Sarah's face tightened. He's 7. He has energy. He can have energy without breaking my stuff, I countered. Don't talk that way around my son. Liam snapped. Then control your son in my home. I shot back. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Mom Sarah looked offended that I wasn't playing the accommodating host. Dad David kept his eyes glued to the TV, like a coward. Liam scrolled his phone, probably already posting about his toxic brother to his followers. 30 minutes in, I was already done. Mom Sarah kept pushing. Is Chloe paying half the rent? Are you two basically living together? That's none of your business. I'm just asking, sweetie. And I'm just not answering. Liam looked up from his phone. Bro, you've changed. You used to be chill. I used to be a doormat, I corrected. I'm done with that. See? Liam gestured at me. This attitude. This is what I'm talking about. You're acting like we're strangers. We are strangers, I said. You haven't texted me in 3 years. Don't know where I work. Don't know who I date. Don't know anything about my life. That's the definition of strangers. Mom Sarah flinched. That's not fair. It's accurate. I interrupted. You want to know what's not fair? Flying here uninvited after I explicitly told you not to come. That's not fair. Dad David finally spoke, still facing the TV. We're your parents. We can visit our son. Not without permission. You can't. An hour in, the real conversation started. Mom Sarah shifted forward on the couch, hands folded, a practiced, almost rehearsed expression on her face. Your father and I have been thinking about your brother's situation. Stop. I cut her off. Whatever this is. No. You haven't even heard. Don't need to. The answer's no. Liam set his phone down. Bro, just listen. I said no. I wasn't funding his next failure. I wasn't bailing out Mom Sarah and Dad David's terrible decisions. I wasn't their emergency fund. Mom Sarah's eyes widened. How dare you? How dare I what? I challenged. Have boundaries? Refuse to enable your golden child? Actually expect to be treated like family instead of a checkbook? We raised you. No. I cut her off, my voice ice cold. You raised Liam. I raised myself. Big difference. Liam stood up, angry now. You're really going to sit there acting like you had it so hard? You got everything. Name one thing, I challenged him. One thing they gave me that they didn't give you first. One time they put me first. One sacrifice they made for me. Silence. Complete. Damning. Silence. That's what I thought, I said. I checked my watch. Hour and 40 minutes. 20 minutes left. But I was done. Time's up, I said, standing. You need to leave. Evan, we haven't, Mom Sarah started. I don't care. You came here uninvited. I gave you 2 hours out of courtesy. Now you're leaving. We flew all this way. Your choice. Your problem, not mine. I walked to the door, opened it wide. Out. Liam grabbed Noah, his face red with a mix of rage and humiliation. You're really going to do this? I really am. The door's open. Use it. Mom Sarah stood up, tears already forming. That practiced emotional manipulation. After everything we've done for you, like what? I asked. Specifically, name one thing. One sacrifice. She just stood there, mouth opening and closing, speechless. That's what I thought, I said. Leave. Dad David finally stood, grabbing his jacket. You've become cruel. No, I said. I became honest. And you can't handle it. Liam lingered at the door. We came here to ask for your help. I know, I said. That's why you came. That's the only reason you came. And that's exactly why the answer is no. Liam's in trouble. Mom Sarah blurted out. Real trouble. He owes money. Not my problem, I said simply. He's an adult. He made choices. He can face consequences. He could lose everything. Good, I said. Maybe he'll learn something. Liam's face went pale. You're really going to let me fail? I'm going to let you experience reality, I corrected him. Something Mom Sarah and Dad David never did. Consider it a gift. This is messed up. No, I cut him off. What's messed up is showing up uninvited, treating my home like an ATM, and expecting me to fund your delusions. What's messed up is 3 years of silence, followed by demands for money. What's messed up is using a 7-year-old as emotional leverage. Noah was crying now, confused and scared. Liam, I said, my voice dropping, low and dangerous. Take your son and leave. Don't contact me again unless you're ready to actually apologize. Not the kind where you're sorry I'm upset. The kind where you're sorry for what you did. He grabbed Noah and walked out. Mom Sarah tried one more time. Evan, please out. I said, now. She looked at Dad David. He shook his head, already halfway to the elevator. They left. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it. Atlas emerged from the bedroom, tail wagging, clearly relieved. My phone buzzed. Chloe, how'd it go? I typed back, exactly how I planned. Gave them 2 hours. Kicked them out when they asked for money. Her reply, proud of you. Want company tonight? I smiled. Yeah, bring Zeus. Dogs can celebrate too. I looked around my apartment. Mine. Actually mine. No guilt, no obligation, no performance. Just boundaries. And I'd never felt better. I thought kicking them out would be the end of it. That they'd fly back to Michigan, lick their wounds, maybe even learn something. I was wrong. Sunday morning, 9:47 a.m. The doorbell rang again. Through the peephole, all 3 of them again. Same desperate expressions. Noah looked utterly exhausted. I didn't open the door. Evan. Mom Sarah's voice was muffled through the wood. We know you're in there. We need to talk. I stayed silent. Waited. Evan, please. We flew all this way. We're staying in Austin until we work this out. My blood ran cold. Staying in Austin? Open the door. Dad David's voice was gruff, demanding. I pulled out my phone, typed a text, you need to leave. I told you yesterday. Not interested in whatever you're selling. Mom Sarah's phone buzzed. I watched through the peephole as she read it. We're not leaving until you hear us out, she called through the door. Liam began banging on it. Bro, stop being a coward. Open the door. I called building security instead. Yeah, I've got people harassing me in my hallway. They won't leave. Can you send someone up? 5 minutes later, a security guard arrived. Professional. He'd clearly seen this before. Folks, you need to leave. The resident doesn't want you here. We're his family. Mom Sarah protested. Doesn't matter. This is private property. If you don't leave voluntarily, I'm calling the police. They left, finally. But Mom Sarah texted, we're not giving up. We're staying at a hotel near the domain. We'll be back. I blocked the number. An hour later, a text from a different number. This is your mother. Don't block me. We need to talk about this like adults. Blocked that one too. Then emails started. Facebook messages. LinkedIn attempts. Liam even tried reaching me through Caleb, through old high school friends on social media, even through my company's main line, claiming it was a family emergency. HR called me Tuesday afternoon. Evan, we had someone call claiming to be your brother. Said there was a family emergency and he needed to reach you urgently. There's no emergency, I said, calm as could be. He's harassing me for money. If he calls again, don't transfer it. Understood. Just wanted to verify. Day 5. I took Atlas for his evening walk. Same route we always took. Around the block, through the small park, back home. I didn't see them waiting until it was too late. Liam stepped out from behind a parked van. Dad David right behind him. Before I could even react, Dad David grabbed Atlas's leash and yanked it out of my hands. Liam shoved me backward hard. Dad David. The man who'd barely raised his voice my entire childhood was now wild-eyed, desperate. Desperation does ugly things to people. What the shut up? Liam's voice was different now. Ugly. Desperate. You want to play games? Fine. We'll play games. Dad David was already walking away with my dog. Atlas was pulling back, confused, whimpering. Atlas. I started after them, but Liam blocked me, got right in my face. You're going to listen now. We need that money. You're going to give us $75,000, or we're selling this dog tomorrow. There's a guy who buys working dogs. Cash. No questions asked. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, but from a cold, pure rage. You wouldn't dare try me. He smiled. Actually smiled. You've got 48 hours. Either the money or the dog's gone. And don't bother calling the cops. By the time they do anything, Atlas will be in another state with no papers. You'll never see him again. They drove off. I saw Atlas's face in the back window, looking at me like I'd abandoned him. I stood there on the sidewalk for a long, long time. Then I went home and called my lawyer, explaining everything, my voice steady, my mind already working. They took my dog, threatened to sell him if I don't pay. That's theft and extortion. We need to call the police. I already called 911, gave them the hotel name and Liam's plate number, but I held off on the full complaint until we confirmed they're still there. If I push too hard now, they run and the dog's gone. Smart. What else? How much debt are my parents in? The house? Everything. Silence. I can run a search. Public records. Give me a few hours. I waited. The results came back at 11 p.m. Mom Sarah and Dad David's second mortgage, $85,000 at 9.5% interest. Already 2 months behind. Foreclosure proceedings would start at 90 days. Their house was worth $240,000. Total debt, $195,000. Equity, a shrinking $45,000 with fees and penalties. Liam's business debts, $68,000 across 6 creditors. Personal guarantees on everything. Mom Sarah and Dad David had put their house up as collateral on $30,000 of his supplier debt. They were 60 days from losing everything. And they just made the biggest mistake of their lives. Liam texted the next morning, clock's ticking. 36 hours. Don't test me. I didn't respond. Instead, I called my lawyer again. I want to buy my parents' house before the bank takes it. Fair market value. Cash offer. That's unexpected. They wanted to play hardball. Fine, I'll show them what hardball looks like. I spent the next 24 hours preparing. Had my lawyer draft the purchase offer. Lined up the cash. Called a real estate agent specializing in distressed properties. At hour 44, Mom Sarah called from a new number. Evan, please. Liam's serious. He found a buyer. They're coming tomorrow morning. I know, I said, my voice eerily calm. I pulled your foreclosure filing from the county records, by the way. Interesting timing. What? Check your email. I just sent you a purchase offer for the house. $240,000. Cash. Closes in 2 weeks. Dead silence. You're, what? I'm buying your house. The one you're about to lose because you co-signed Liam's disasters. Fair market value. More than the bank will give you at auction. Evan, that's not. We don't want to sell. You don't have a choice. You're 2 months behind. The bank's going to take it anyway. I'm offering you a way out that doesn't destroy your credit completely. I paused, letting it sink in. But here's the thing. That offer expires in 72 hours. And if anything happens to my dog before then, if Liam sells him, hurts him, or I don't get him back in perfect condition, I pull the offer. Let the bank have everything. Watch you lose the house you lived in for 32 years over your golden child's stupidity. You can't. I can. And I will. You wanted to play games with my dog? Fine. Now I'm playing games with your house. Your move. I hung up. Less than an hour later, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Dad David standing there alone. Atlas was on a leash beside him. Atlas was home. That was non-negotiable. Dad David looked utterly broken. Couldn't meet my eyes. Just handed me the leash and walked away without saying a word. Atlas jumped on me, tail wagging frantically, licking my face. I held him for a long, long time. Then I went inside and forwarded the purchase agreement to my lawyer. They'll sign, I said. Make sure it's airtight. Because here's what they didn't understand. I wasn't buying their house to save them. I was buying it so they couldn't keep using it against me. The purchase went through exactly as planned. Mom Sarah and Dad David tried to negotiate, tried to add conditions. They wanted to stay as renters at below market rates. Wanted me to forgive their debt. Wanted me to be reasonable. I wasn't interested in reasonable. Fair market rent is $1,900, I told my lawyer. That's the number. They can pay it or they can leave. Their choice. They're claiming financial hardship, my lawyer relayed, asking for $800. Then they can find somewhere else to live for $800. Not my property. They signed. They had no choice. The bank was already circling. The day the sale closed, I got a text from Liam. You think you won something? You just bought yourself a landlord headache. Have fun dealing with Mom Sarah and Dad David as tenants. I actually smiled at that because he had no idea about the rest of the plan. 2 weeks after closing, I served my parents with a formal notice, month-to-month tenancy. No lease. Rent due on the first, $1,900. A late fee of $100 after the fifth. Eviction proceedings would begin after 30 days of non-payment. Mom Sarah called, crying. You can't do this to us. We're your parents. You took my dog, I reminded her. Threatened to sell him. Used him as a bargaining chip for money. You think I forgot that? That was Liam's idea. And you went along with it. Dad David grabbed the leash. You knew what was happening. You made your choice. Evan, please. We can't afford $1,900. Your father's only working part-time. I'm doing odd jobs. We're barely surviving. Should have thought about that before you bet everything on Liam. We're your parents. You're my tenants, I said. Big difference. And if you can't pay, you've got 30 days to figure something out. The first month, they paid. Scraped it together somehow. Second month, they were late. I filed the late fee. Third month, they couldn't make it. Liam had moved in with them by then. All 4 of them, including Noah, in that house. Mom Sarah begged for an extension. I gave them 10 days. Then I started eviction proceedings. My lawyer handled everything. Clean. Professional. By the book. Meanwhile, Liam's creditors closed in. Without the house as collateral anymore, it was mine now. They had nothing to secure the debt against. Judgments piled up. Wage garnishment hit whatever meager earnings he made at his warehouse job. His BMW got repossessed from my parents' driveway at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. I watched the repo truck drive away from the property management app on my phone. There's a camera on the front porch now. The eviction notice was served on day 45. That night, Mom Sarah showed up at my building. Security called me. There's a woman in the lobby. Says she's your mother. She's crying, sir. Tell her I'm not available. She says she'll wait, then call the police after an hour if she won't leave. I watched the security feed from my laptop. Watched her sit in that lobby for 3 hours, dabbing her eyes, looking at her phone, hoping I'd come down. I didn't. Eventually, she left. She sent me an email that night. Evan, we made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. We should never have let Liam take your dog. Should never have threatened you. Should never have put him before you all those years. But please don't take our home. Don't put us on the street. Your father's health is failing. Noah needs stability. We're begging you. We're begging you. Please, Mom Sarah. I read it twice. Then I forwarded it to my lawyer with one word, proceed. The eviction finalized 2 weeks later. The sheriff's department gave them 72 hours to vacate. I didn't go watch. Didn't need to. Property management sent me photos afterward, empty rooms, some damage to the walls, trash left behind. They'd even taken the refrigerator, though it came with the house. I had it fixed up, new paint, new appliances, professional cleaning. Listed it for rent at $2,100 a month. Had a tenant within a week. Passive income, $2,100 rent, minus $280 property taxes, $150 insurance, $200 management fee, over $1,400 a month in my pocket, free and clear. Liam ended up in a motel, then a shelter when the money ran out. Mom Sarah and Dad David moved into a 1-bedroom apartment on the bad side of town, rent $750. All 4 of them sharing that cramped space, including Noah. Liam's Instagram went dark. No more posts about the entrepreneurial grind. No more motivational quotes. No more rented sports cars or designer clothes. Just silence. I should have felt bad. I didn't. Because I'd spent 32 years watching them sacrifice everything for Liam's dreams while ignoring mine. Watching them threaten to sell my dog like he was nothing. Like everything I loved was theirs to leverage. Watching them finally face consequences? That felt like justice. 8 months later, March in Austin. I was out with Chloe at a UT basketball game when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is Liam. Can we talk, please? I'm begging. I showed Chloe. She raised an eyebrow. Begging now, huh? Apparently. You going to meet him? Part of me wanted to ignore it completely. But another part, The part that remembered Atlas's scared face in that car window, wanted to see what rock bottom looked like on him. Yeah, I said. I want to see this. We met at a coffee shop downtown. Neutral ground. Public. He looked utterly destroyed. Gaunt. Clothes didn't fit right. Shoes falling apart. His hands shook when he sat down. I'm not here for money, he started. Good, I said. Because you're not getting any. I know. I know I'm not. He couldn't look at me. I needed you to see what I've become. What we've all become. I sipped my coffee, said nothing. Noah's living with his mom full-time now. I lost custody because I couldn't provide stable housing. I see him twice a month. Supervised visits at a facility that smells like bleach. His voice cracked. He asked me why Grandma Sarah and Grandpa David live in such a small apartment. I didn't know what to say. I still said nothing. Dad David had a heart attack last month, minor one, but they can't afford the follow-up care. Mom Sarah's working 2 jobs at 63 years old. They eat ramen for dinner most nights. He finally looked up at me, eyes red, face wet. And I did this. I did all of this. Yes, I said. You did the dog thing. He shook his head. That was the worst moment of my life. Not when they arrested me. Not when I lost everything. The worst moment was watching you on that sidewalk as we drove away with Atlas. The look on your face. I'll never forget it. Neither will I. I'm sorry. The words came out broken. I'm so sorry for everything. For 30 years of taking and never giving back. For thinking I deserved everything because Mom Sarah and Dad David told me I was special. For taking your dog and threatening to sell him like some kind of monster. I was a monster. I am a monster. He was crying now. Really crying. The kind you can't fake. Mom Sarah wanted me to tell you she's sorry too. She writes you letters she never sends. Pages and pages about how she failed you. How she chose wrong. How she wishes she could go back and do everything differently. I finished my coffee. Set the cup down. Dad David too. He can't say it because he's too proud, but I hear him at night sometimes, talking to himself, saying your name, saying he's sorry. Liam wiped his face, looked at me with something like hope. Is there any chance at all we could, I don't know, start over? Not money. Not the house. Just maybe a phone call sometimes? Maybe you could meet Noah again? He still asks about Uncle Evan. Still has that toy car you gave him when he was 4. I looked at him for a long time. Thought about everything. 32 years of being invisible. 32 years of achievements that were never good enough. Atlas shaking in my arms after I got him back. Mom Sarah crying in my lobby while I watched on the security feed. Then I stood up. No. His face crumbled. Evan, please. You asked if we could start over. The answer is no. There's nothing to start over. There was never anything real to begin with. I was an ATM to you. A backup plan. A resource to exploit when the favorite son ran out of options. That's not you took my dog, I said it quiet, cold. Grabbed him off the street, threatened to sell him to some stranger. Used the only living thing I actually loved as a bargaining chip for money. And now you want me to pretend that didn't happen? To pick up the phone on holidays and make small talk. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Tell Mom Sarah I got her message. Tell Dad David I don't care about his nighttime apologies. Tell Noah. I paused. Actually, don't tell Noah anything. He'll figure it out when he's older. Figure out that his dad and his grandparents burned every bridge for money and then wondered why nobody came to visit. I started walking toward the door. Evan, wait. Please, I'm begging you. We're all begging you. I stopped, didn't turn around. I know, I said. That's the difference between us. I never begged for anything. I just built something worth having. And you spent your whole life taking from people who did the work. We're family. No, we're not. Family doesn't threaten to sell your dog. Family doesn't show up demanding money when you haven't spoken in years. Family doesn't mortgage their house for the golden child and then come crying when it all falls apart. I finally turned to look at him. You're strangers who share my DNA. That's all you've ever been. I just didn't realize it until you made it impossible to ignore. I left him there, crying alone in a coffee shop full of people pretending not to watch. When I got back to Chloe, she looked up from her phone. How'd it go? They're still begging. You forgive them? No, I said, pulling her close. And I never will. She just smiled. Good. Later that night, we were at my place, our place now. My phone buzzed 3 more times. Mom Sarah, Dad David, Liam again. Different numbers, same desperate messages. Please, we're begging. Just one more chance. I deleted them all without reading past the first line. Atlas jumped up on the couch, laid his massive head on my lap like he knew, like he remembered that week away from home. I scratched behind his ears, and he made that soft, content sound that meant everything was okay. Outside, Austin glowed. My city. My life. My choice. This whole ordeal felt like watching a slow-motion car crash, but when I finally had the power to prevent from hitting me. I set my boundaries, and I held them. Was I too harsh, or did they get exactly what they deserved? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you relate to this story in any way, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. Your support helps me share these raw, honest experiences.